afternoon. Thanks for joining. We'll go ahead and get kicked off. A great leadership team meeting this morning that we covered a lot of the preseason questions that we had. The UIL came in and AJ talked with us on season preparations all the way into postseason UIL expectations for the year, and that'll be coming down through your chapter leadership. So real excited to have that come in. My name's Rex. Welcome. And we have probably 20 to 25 here in the DFW area. Many of our leadership team still here, and also some local officials to DFW and even from Amarillo as well, making the trip in. So appreciate everybody coming in on this. We've got kind of a jam 2 hours and some great presentations. So I want to get through that as best we can. Want to welcome you in, challenge you with a couple of things. And of course, this is being recorded. We'll put it on our website even after this call is over, so that everybody can go back and review that may not have been here during the day, and then ask any questions as we go along. Here's our agenda. Say that, Terry.
Oh, did I turn it on?
There's sabotage in here.
Yeah, I'll just turn my head.
Okay.
Right.
We're gonna figure this out.
Maybe. Okay, got it.
All right, great. So introductions, we'll want to not introduce everybody in the room. I think that's going to take a little bit too long on this. We had all 7 chapters. Hey, Mike. Had all 7 chapters here earlier, and I think we're down to 5 right now. El Paso and the Valley had to take off and for travel arrangements and get back home. But this is what we're going to look at today. And in the afternoon, the session with Dan, he's already given that presentation to the joint session of coaches and officials. And so we'll put those presentations that Dan had online for everybody to view, and then work with Dan and Dennis on the updates for that. We're going to talk about recruiting just a little bit in the beginning and the success of the recruiting campaign that we ran last year. AJ from the UIL was instrumental in helping us support that last year and giving us the opportunity to spread those QR code posters that everybody's familiar with to the district, regional, and state championships, and that worked out really, really well. So we'll talk on membership numbers and recruiting and how that's benefited and some of the strategy around that. Terry's going to cover the budget, ask some questions on what your membership actually goes to. He's going to cover what that $75 membership fee actually covers. And again, questions that you may have on that, we can fill in. Website overview, we'll touch a bit on that, starting out with registration and then forums and all the tools that are on there. Not to spend a whole lot of time on it, just get you familiar with that. Gabe was not able to make the trip as we had hoped and anticipated. So the liability insurance side of that, we'll be able to pick some time up there, and we'll have Gabe make a video. Our strategy now is to make Gabe make a video since he's not here. We'll volunteer.
No.
Can
I go ahead with?
Yeah, we got him first.
Terry's Gabe online?
2 cheesy bean and rice burritos.
Okay, I'll take some Doritos. Doritos Locos.
Angel, you gotta get enough for everybody.
Oh, my bad.
Is that Angel order lunch?
Yeah.
I got you. All right, great. So we'll wait to hear from Gabe to see if he's able to do that. If not, no problem. We'll make up a little bit of time. Dennis, we're going to spend some time on Dennis. Dennis McGrain has been recently appointed as the TWA rules interpreter. Dennis is going to kind of cover the strategy for the year on the rules interpreter overviews from a TWA perspective and some of the online clinics that he has scheduled for that. Looking forward to that. Again, like I said, Dan's already gone this morning for his presentation. He's going to give those presentations. We'll get them on the website and communicate it to all the chapters. So we're going to jump right in. Thanks again for everyone for coming. Terry,
Yeah, hang on.
click me.
I'm busy muting everybody. Go
Gotcha.
ahead.
I'll have you work on it.
Okay.
Get that. So chapter representation. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in the room. I know you probably met everyone that was here. Touch on membership and recruiting, like we said earlier. Go ahead. Oh, does it work?
Yeah.
Do I just need to phone?
I guess.
Okay,
Point.
good.
There you go.
We'll figure it out. Recruiting so far, the QR campaign that we had so far, again, I think was extremely successful. Let's walk through what these numbers mean. And start in the very low right-hand corner. Everybody's familiar with that QR code. You saw them at districts, you saw them at regionals, you saw them at state. We had 249 people not only scan the code, but actually enter their information, name, home address, phone number, email address, those types of things. This is a big step. We all have had those people that we see at tournaments, see at events, come by, hey, you ever been interested in officiating? I'd like to referee. How much do you guys make? Well, you make that much on a Saturday? Yes, yes, yes. We've all had those drive-bys, right? What we call drive-bys. These are actually people who went, scanned the code, entered their information, and have been contacted by us by the state level of TWA several times up to this point and welcome them in. We're getting ready to turn all of those names as we have them currently, and we'll continue to do this over to the chapter leadership, chapter presidents, to contact them directly. If you are one of those brand new officials, do we have anybody in the room? Any new officials here in the room? All right, great. We got 2 here, even in the room, on that. If you are a new official, either online or listening to this at a later date, and you have not registered yet, please follow those instructions in the emails that have that. Go onto our website, twa-tx.org, and click the membership and registration link there. That'll get you in. We had 249 people last year, prospective officials, click that QR code and enter that information from when we started putting those out, I believe at the end of January, middle January, end of January, all the way through the state tournament. And that's a great number. You see the allocations there, really strong numbers across the board. Houston, Dallas obviously have the biggest numbers. That makes sense. Austin and San Antonio coming in strong as well. But I mean, even the Valley, Amarillo, El Paso, good numbers there. So
I'll get him.
go back there. You go back. All right. So to this point, this is as of yesterday, right? As of yesterday, out of those numbers on the right, as of yesterday, this is what we have registered. These are just new officials who click the QR code, right? So we're running at 25%. 25% of those new officials we already have registered as officials within our organization, which is huge. Huge. I mean, if you would tell me last year, hey, we'll have 62 registered officials last year, you would tell me that going into this year, I would have been tickled pink, and I am, and I think everybody should be. That's 25%, and it's September 27th, right? We haven't even made the heavy push yet as we get into the beginning of the season for the next month in preparation for that. So we're still going to hammer these. We're still going to stay on these and hammer these. Our motto here on this is gain, train, and retain, right? I know our leadership team has heard this several times. We're going to continue to hit it. Gain it. We've got QR codes. We've got the recruiting campaigns. We've gained a lot of numbers. We're sitting in a good spot, right? Train. Once we get them in, we got to train them. We got to prepare them. We got to make sure that they feel confident as officials, confident that they are backed up and supported from an administrative point of view, from a rules knowledge point of view, from a mentorship point of view, so that they don't stand out there on their own and get like coach. That's where, unless anybody disagrees with me, it's not the pay. We lose our officials on treatment from coaches. The coaches know this. We've talked about it. UIL has talked with them about it. It's in every publication when you talk about officiating any sport across the country, the treatment of officials by coaches, right? And so we want to make sure that we've got tools there in our arsenal to make sure that we can handle, unruly coaches or even unruly fans to a point to give them the confidence that they are protected on the mat as long as we prepare them correctly and their chapter supports them, their head official supports them in those avenues, to be able to successfully officiate, right? We believe we have the pay to where it needs to be. UIL has been very good with working on us on that. We've been in lockstep with raises from TASO and the other sports in that, so we're in a good spot there. But train them, get them there, and then retain them. We want them coming back year 1. We want them coming back year 2. We can get them to the second year. My thoughts, we can get them to the second year, we're over the hump. We're in a good spot on that. Any thoughts on, before we look deeper into numbers, again, this is new officials, on training and retaining, some of the strategies we have on there. I know we've got 7 chapters. The chapters does things a little bit differently on how they train, how they mentor, how they put officials in, and want to see if we've got any ideas here in the room or on the phone. Mike.
What's the conversion rate from this 250? Is this the first year we're doing the QR codes?
First year. Yeah, so I got nothing yet. I'll be able to tell you next year.
Yeah.
I'm terribly excited because I can confidently say that even 62 is a huge number for a whole year across the state of officials who are brand new first year officials that have registered, getting them to register. Again, like I said, there's always people who come by, hey, I want to officiate. Wow, you guys make a lot of money. That's great. I'll do it. Whatever, to actually getting them to pay their money, register, put their information online. We've got 25% of the people who actually clicked the QR code last year on that. So we're in a good spot. And trust me, we're going to continue to communicate with them What you guys may not see, unless you're one of the newer officials, is is the new officials who haven't, if you're part of the 249 minus 62, if you're part of that 180 number around there, you're still getting emails. You're still getting hammered, right? We're a bit obsessive on the communication right there. We want to make sure that they feel welcome, that they feel a part of that, communicate with them on the new official perspective on that. As we go along, I'll share this every call. I'll give it to Dennis to share on his calls, right? We're proud of it. And UILs ask for the numbers. They want to see the numbers because they've reported it to the NFHS on our behalf as well. And so they've got some curiosity, interest in it too. And so proud of that. So part of the entries, local chapters make contact. Any other questions? Anybody online on recruitment?
Not on recruitment. Rex, can you hear me?
I can, go ahead.
So there's going to be questions in the chat. I see one in terms of kind of when's the last day to register for the current season. What I'm going to do, if it's okay, I'll just try to keep track, parking lot on the questions, and I'll post them up at the end. All right. Does that make sense, Rex?
Yeah, I'm sorry, who's speaking? I can't see.
Rex, it's Troy Morton from Austin. I'm just trying to do a little bit of admin help because there's some questions in the chat. I don't want to interrupt. There we go.
I appreciate that, Troy, and I'll have Terry's here in the room too, so he'll look at those. Troy, thanks for that.
No worries.
Please let me know if we miss anything on that. Terry's or anything related to this. Good, Troy. Thanks for. I appreciate you having eyes on that. All right, so now my clicker doesn't work. Okay, so next on membership, this is returning membership. Okay, busy slide here, obviously different colors on this. Grand total, again, look at that bottom right number in the middle, 311. 311 was the total number of officials that we had registered last year. And you can see what we have at this point that are registered, and what we have that aren't registered on that. Not unreasonable, right? Still about the same ratio, 27 to 73% registered and not registered yet. That's going to improve, and we're still moving forward. We showed you the last 4 years worth of registration numbers. So last year we were up from 248 4 years ago to 311. That 350 is going to be 400. It's going to be 425. I'm confident of it already. I mean, that number's already old because I did the slide at the beginning of the week. That 311 is already plus, and this is obviously, assuming that we get the 311 back. But, if you add 62 to that 311, we're pushing 370 easy. Of course, that's with the 311 coming back. So we want to retain the 311, obviously, and then we're at 62. I bet easily we'll be over 100 new officials, 125, hopefully 150. And if we can get 275 to 300 of our returns, we're going to be in great shape. Just let you see the increase solidly year after year. And I think the 25, 26 increase number is going to be 20% easily. For those of you, Mike Marshall, who like numbers, data, right? So it's pretty exciting as an association, especially as the chapter leadership. Please pat your leadership and your team on the back for that, because this was quite a campaign with poster printing and hanging and taking around to district tournaments, regional tournaments, supporting that every time you had a chance to that. What's our target audience? Coach Davis, what's our target audience? That graduated senior, right? That graduated senior, whether they're going to go to trade school, whether they're hanging around home, whether they're going to college in another state. That karma, I think if they go to Ohio to go to college, they're going to officiate in Ohio. We always get move-ins to our state. It's a trade type of thing. All of us in this room, no officials in those other states that we can point them to get them hooked up in their local associations there. And then hell, when you come home, come officiate Texas. If you're home from that Thanksgiving to New Year's holiday, come officiate with us. If you're NFHS registered, we'll work you in somehow and figure out the registration on the back end portion of that. Let's get you busy. We'll make the connections in the other states for you, because that also comes back to us on this side. So those, my Coach Davis agreed with me on it. Thank you for letting me target it. The graduating seniors are really who we're looking for. Those officials that are just coming out and saying, "Hey, thought about officiating. No, I could never do that. Thought about making $340 on a Saturday. Wait, what? Yeah, okay, I'm listening." Right? Those types of things. If we can have those conversations, get those, ex-wrestlers out and on the mat, that's what we're looking for. Questions on membership, returning membership, before we get into the fun stuff like budget. Anything online?
Yeah,
Good?
that's Troy. Troy, is there any questions for Rex?
Troy, anything online?
Yeah, just that one. There was a question as to when the registration for the current season
Oh,
closes.
yeah, and I appreciate that. You mentioned that. There has not been a date put on registration closing. We have done that in the past where we close registration. And then we seem to have officials come in the middle of December for whatever reason and want to help us out, and we can use on the JV mat, they're good officials, but they've been working the past couple months out of the state or out of country, and they're coming back, and because we closed registration, we weren't able to get them in. So we're like, why are we closing registration? What does it do? Right? You register, you pay your money, you take your test, you're good to go, even if it's the first week of January, and we can plug them in. So unless the executive board decides differently, I don't think there's any reason why we should close registration. So it should be open. Fair enough. Other questions, Terry? I know Jeremiah had a comment. We approximately 100 officials statewide in the last 5 years. Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to hit more this year. We're going to have easily 100 new recruits. Easily. We're at 62 now. So we're in a good spot. Great. All right. Let me introduce to you the TWA treasurer, Mr. Terry Thill, to run through the budget for the state.
All right, hi, everybody.
Terry.
Yeah, Terry. Let's see if we can get it shared first.
Are they seeing your screen?
I think they're seeing it.
Seeing that.
Still seeing that
I
one.
can't see. I got it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, move it over. All right, Terry. Okay, so we got a little zoomer. Okay, so far we have, this is last year's numbers. This is what we've got so far this year. And this is the budget. This budget is still a work in progress. We haven't nailed it down, but this gives us a ballpark of where we're going to be. We're hoping to, if we get 315 registered officials, we're hoping to get $23,000. As you see, we're about halfway there. We got about 154 registered as of this. I think we got 170 now, but when I made this spreadsheet, we had 154. And so if we can go down to, toggle down to the bottom, or no, toggle down a little bit more. Right? Yeah, that's good. We'll start there. Okay, so every official, I'm going to show you this in a couple different ways. I'm going to show you this in a table format. Now I'll show you this in a pie chart. So $75, what does your $75 go to? We got fixed costs and we've got discretionary costs. So how we come up with the fixed cost, the background check costs $11, credit card fee is $2. So that gives us $62 to cover the rest of the cost of the organization. All right, and so we have 16,000, 15,500 of that. The break even is 253 registered officials. We need 253 registered officials to break even with the current budget that we have. We have an optional cost of about $5,000. So in order to cover those, we need about 332 officials, and we're about halfway there. We got 170 registered right now. So let me show you what these fixed costs are and these optional costs. Do you want to page up a little bit? Yeah. So basically, like we had a retreat this summer that we talked about the bylaws and updating those. We haven't paid the D&O insurance yet. That's coming up. Also the website, we haven't paid that. Matt Boss is, we're looking at different ways to evaluate officials. Everyone, the executive board chooses who goes to the state and they use paper rate. But it would be highly advantageous to watch video to see you personally, but it's not possible to get to every chapter during the year. So there are different tools out there like NetBoss. There's some others. So we're looking into that to hopefully help everybody get seen throughout the year. And here's your 275. That was your excellent Italian lunch today that we just had. Hopefully you had more than one piece of pizza. And this is, sometimes we have a speaker and we don't have a speaker today. So we'll be able to save $100. Now the insurance is a fixed cost up to $350 that we just got that bill. We haven't paid it yet, but that is the bill, we got. Also, background check is it's $11 per person, so that's just a placeholder, okay? Based on what we had last year, 313 people. Now, state right here, our evaluators last year cost $3,000, and we usually have a state dinner, which is $650, and merchandise as far as shirts and jackets and stuff. These are discretionary. The board can decide at any time whether they want to do that. If we're running out of money, they can kill that, or if we got a lot of new recruits, we're flush with money, we can do that. Then the next one is that what Rich was just talking about, recruiting. So basically, the couple of the main things of the state clinic is talk about the new rules, stuff like that. Always get the call right, always get the call right. We're striving to train for that. And also always be recruiting, always be recruiting. So that's where that comes in. And we just started the new thing last year, and the QR code actually working pretty well. We'll see what that number is next year. Hopefully it's really good. All right, you want to go down a little bit? The funny thing about the rule books is we just handed out a lot of these rule books right here, and we don't get the bill for that until March. So it's really difficult so I just basically put the same number in as we did last year, and that would be probably a little bit higher. That's bank fees, checkbook, and QuickBooks right here. So we have $18,000 in the bank right now, and what we're projecting is basically to break even. So we started the year at $9,200, and we'll end the year at basically $9,000. So now let me show you that information in a pie chart. So I think if we can go to, oh yeah, there. So where is my right here? Pie chart, yeah. Can you pull that over? Pull that there. Yeah, make it bigger. All right, so this is basically, I'll show you that. This is $75 right here. Basically, the background check, credit card fees, books, and the overhead. So that's what it looks like right there. Overhead is basically 70%, $53. And then if you want to page down, that overhead breaks down into this right here. Basically, the insurance, these are the fixed costs. These are the discretionary costs. So like that great piece of pizza that you had basically cost $2. We had 3 pizza. Okay. So basically that's the breakdown per dollar of that $53 right here. And we've got a question mark like in a map box right there. That hopefully we'll use something. Again, what's the best way to train and evaluate folks? Obviously to see them, it's not always easiest. So what we've done in the past is use evaluation paper, and now with YouTube and video stuff, getting more easier to use. We want to move to something that will help that be able to get you guys. So that is the budget basically, and again, this is really a discretionary budget. The board can change it at any time based upon how much grow or shrink throughout the year. And if there's no. So let me know if you have any questions. All of this is we usually put the latest updated numbers up on the website every month, and I have this all in QuickBooks. So if you ever have any questions, just launch out.
Yeah, so I've already had 2 background checks done.
Well, you must have passed.
See that? 2 different companies do the background checks. And is there a way to save money by having just like share the background check from?
That's a toughie.
We've, I'll take that. Talked with AJ about that, and they've, when we were setting up the background checks, reviewed it with him on what we actually check for against, according to their standards as well. And we know that ours meets that. And so if there's an administrative check that if you bring your background check from another association or from another organization into that, somebody somewhere has to then go look at Clayton's background check to see, does it check for these things that the UIL are requesting? And we don't have that admin strength wrapped up in that. And so the decision was made last year when it was set up that we'll just do our own, same way with insurance. Same question also exists with liability insurance. Hey, I've got extra liability insurance covering officiating in these other organizations there. We know that on our side, first of all, there's somebody there that doesn't have to verify that level. Are they covered adequately there? Does it meet or exceed what ours does? We don't have that group to be able to do that. And so the decision last year was made that we'll just roll all this in to keep it easy. Everybody registers the same and gets that. The only exception that was made last year was an out-of-state official who comes in to help us at a tournament. Typically in the DFW area, we see that a couple of times a year that they're already covered in those. We make them register on our side, pay the $75, and then we refund them. What was the numbers? Anybody remember the number? $40 or something, 40 or $50. We refund them all the registration books, all that stuff that they've already done. And we keep to recover the insurance allocation and the background check allocation on that side, because even though they've registered and they're already in another state, we still run the background check in Texas as well on that. Stuart, question.
I know a number of officials do a number of different sports, UIL. Is there, and UIL background check is basically the same for all of the different sports, whether they're ASO, whether they're or here. Is there any way to cross-pollinate those and save a few bucks?
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but also to be clear, and want to ask Dan about this too. It's not a UIL background check. It's a background check done on behalf of TWA that we may use the same vendor to do the background check.
I was
But
just trying to think.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. I want to make sure.
Multi-different.
Yeah, it is, and trust me, it is a pain, especially for those of you who register. Several of us in the room and online register for different associations at different levels and things like that. That we're having the same type of service provided in triplicate at times on there. And know anything different on the background check?
It's interesting because you go through TASO, technically different background check, you do like vice versa. So I don't see the UIL line on. I think they're going to have each organization or association pull their own.
Sure.
Because anytime you deviate from that, then you get, I don't think and process or
Yeah, and Stuart, that's what we found also. And again, the other thing, like I was telling Clayton, is that then there's a manual side of that. Somebody somewhere has there's the administrative side. We don't have that. Yeah, we don't have that built in. So it's just simple, easy for us. And I even think cost effective. Everybody has the same registration. Everybody has the same insurance, and then we cover all that under the same policy for that. Good questions. Let's talk about it every year, right? Because we need to keep our whole point is, as a nonprofit organization, we don't want to make a profit. That's not it. So we want to make sure that we have enough money to operate. We have a little bit there in case there's an emergency, but we don't carry over tens of thousands of dollars repeatedly, exponentially every year, because that's not what our function is. We want to deliver the best service to our officials at the most reasonable price possible to operate.
Hey, Rex.
Online? Oh, go ahead. Another question.
Jeremiah's got his hand up.
Oh, Jeremiah, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. I just wanted to add my voice of support to the use of MatBoss for evaluating and overall seeing. That would be an expense very well worth it towards our goal of getting better evaluations statewide. So just wanted to add my support to that as a part of the proposed budget.
Hey, appreciate that, Jeremiah. Thanks. And want to touch on MatBoss as well with our experience with it, right? Some of us in here have individual experiences on it and being evaluated by MatBoss. A couple in here have experiences with it being on the administrative side and evaluating with it. and then a couple have also experience in another product. It's a flavor. It's a different brand, it's a different vendor for that. Others do things what you may consider better, others do things what you may consider worse on that. And the whole point here is let's continue. Our executive board continues every year that we need to continue to root out and research different offerings to give that to there. We used it as a beta test at state last year. It didn't cost us any money to use it last year at state. And so the 30 state officials had it used on them last year. And it's a tool that delivers a good product in that your match is videoed. You have a commentator on that match. The evaluator is actually commentating during that match, and you see the score on there, and they'll make notations on the match and be talking to it live, instead of many of us who've gotten these paper evaluations in the past that you're looking at 2 weeks after the tournament that says, hey, match 21-47 in the third period, you were on the wrong side of that cradle, weren't you? And you're like, I don't know what after lunch today. And so those valuations there weren't, it was archaic, right? It was the best we had at the time, but this is a step up in technology and using technology to be able to do it. It was a beta test at state. We tried it out, had some good feedback on it, but maybe there's some other tools on it. But what we looked at this year, we've got the placeholder in there for $600 that every chapter across the state has access to this, meaning every chapter, no chapter in the state has to pay anything. This is covered at a state level for $600. What's not covered is in the chapter. You've got to set up an event in Matt Boss to be able to have your officials in that event. You've got the January 13th tournament at the Rock that we're going to have these 13 officials. So you create an ID for these 13 officials. They get put into this event. And then the evaluator has to have an iPhone or an iPad or something with preferably a headset that they can talk to and a microphone to use. There's some technology that's involved with it. That's on the chat, right? It's existing technology. Everybody has, many people have an iPad or something there. But at least the engine is there. The engine is there and covered by the executive board for that. The licensing fees and the subscription fees are all there to be able to use. So, Jeremiah, appreciate that. And again, just want to stress, this is a flavor. It's a vendor. It's a tool. It's a flavor. We need to evaluate it every year to see if it's something that we can use. And Kim, I think Kim Hernandez will have more on that coming up, probably on maybe one of our rules calls or something with Dennis. So we'll look at that there. Any other questions, Terry?
Thanks on MapBoss. We looked at MapBoss several years ago at college level. And really what we found was not a good match. Equipment cost, overhead cost, technology was nice compared to what we could get, right? You can get video content a lot of other places for no cost. If you really want to make an evaluation using non-MapBoss medium, you can actually look at it and you can buy video, talk video. So we said, no, we're not going to use it, and we really haven't changed that. Yes. So I do love the fact that being incorporated in evaluation is much more meaningful. I'm not a fan of MapBoss. I think we should look at other mediums.
It's a great point. And to expand on what Dan had, if you have a Flow Wrestling subscription, you can go get those videos and look at them and commentate on them or evaluate toward that video as well. So it's definitely not the end all be all. It was something that was free to us at state on a test version. It was there. We looked at it, got the price of $600. We're happy with it, and that's what the executive board voted on there. But it doesn't mean that we haven't paid anything for it. We haven't subscribed to it yet. It's just there. It's being held there until we look at some other things. Definitely want to hear your opinions on it, your experiences with it, experiences with other products. Get that to your chapter leadership so that they can get that to their executive board member and it can be discussed there and you're represented. Because Dan's got a great point, and Jared shared some of those in the past as well. That there's if there's a better option for us at even a cheaper cost or a more cost-effective cost, we want to take advantage of those for sure. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate that. Terry, any other questions there? Website overview. This will be quick. Can you pull up a browser?
Yeah.
Let me go back. Oh, you guys. Here. Okay, so here's, Terry's logged in, so we're gonna use him as a guinea pig. Go to home, Terry, in the upper left. This is our website. When you log in, I tell you what, Terry, can you log out? Go to log out halfway across there, top line, down a little bit. Log out. This is what the outside sees. So if here's Renee's concerned look, this is what the outside sees. So if you go to our website and do not log in, here's the welcome screen. It scrolls through our officials there, even the El Paso ones, and gives you, welcomes you into the website, and then we go to DFW. We've got a good mix of officials coming through our website. And obviously on the top there, your registration link, coaches, we invite the coaches and we share this with the coaches every year. There's an evaluation form on there. Terry, click that if you don't mind.
This one?
This is external to this is outside of our login. This is for coaches, right? They go in there. We've had use of this, not as much use as what we wanted and not as much use as what they promised, but we created an evaluation form for them that goes directly to their chapter. So if it's a coach in the Austin area and at an Austin tournament, they'll go in and fill this out with the official name. Hopefully know the official's name, but they'll put the chapter in at the top, and it goes to that chapter president. It'll go to Mike Marshall as the Austin chapter president and let them have that evaluation, good, bad, ugly, different, whatever it is. And there's even an option there to share it with the official that the coach can click or not option on there. We've had a good mix of some that wanted to be shared with the official and some that didn't want to be shared with the official. And you can probably guess which ones were which on that. So coach feedback there about us, no big deal. Just talks about our board. Join us. That goes to our registration, trying to pimp the association. That's good. Meetings, very important. Not going to touch on this very long because this is well, I'm sorry, you can't see this unless you're logged in. So let's go ahead and log in, Terry. If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Right. Drill.
Oh, yeah.
What's that? Exactly. All right, Terry's going to log in. So now, if you've registered, you're going to log in here, and you'll see a bit of a different screen. On the right side, you'll see who's logged on to the website as soon as you get in. There's 4 people logged on. Mike, I should be paying attention on the website. Right, so we've got now 4 people logged on. So you see a little bit different screen, some different options across the top. Meetings, just click on meetings. Don't need to be very far. This is what Dennis is going to cover a little bit later. These are our scheduled meetings for the year, including today on that. Register 25-26. This is if you were already a member last year, but not registered yet this year. This is what will come up on that register link. You don't need to click it. Okay, testing is not available yet. Testing gets available. It will be on this tab here. Forum. This is where I want to spend a couple of minutes on the forum and show you what the forum is on that. Again, testing is not available. Forum. This is our space as officials. Very proud of this. It's a collaborative environment inside the forum for all officials to discuss many things. General discussions. Who has the best hospitality room? Who has the best gym? Mike has the best hospitality room. Who has the best mats? What are you doing this week? Just general discussions. Just general fun. Anything that's not directly related to the insides of wrestling. You see some different things there. Fees and charges, background checks, just general stuff. NFHS rules discussions. These are about rules, rule proposals. We'll put Dan's call for rule proposals out here. Anything that involves NFHS. Dan looks at this closely. Dennis will look at this closely and help administer these sessions here. Make the call discussions. This is my favorite one. This is our favorite one. There's many favorite ones. This is where videos get shared or situations get shared. Had this situation. Kid was in control, running a half, rolling halfway over. Had almost a 2 count, and he rolled out of it, and then he grabbed the kid's headgear from the bottom, and they go out of bounds, right? You coming up with all these what ifs, and we get to discuss it, kick it back and forth. And then Dennis, as the TWA rules interpreter, gets to take that, share it on a rules call, and we get to beat it up. He gets to show a video, put a poll out there, everybody votes. We come up with experienced officials' backgrounds and expertise on there to add their opinions. And then advise moving forward, this is the best call in this type of situation, right? And so make the call discussions are very, very, very beneficial for just a general member, official. This is one of the best places to be is make the call and the rules discussions. Please participate in those. Terry's logged in here, so you see a couple of other forums here that you won't have any access to and won't even see. So that's where I wanted to just show you, and then we'll bounce off this and move to the next subject. But rules discussions, make the call discussions. This is all in the forum. Please, please, please pay attention to those blogs. Many of you, especially if you've been a member for the past year, will get a blog. This is just a quick note on whatever's coming up. The topic of the day, the topic of the week, upcoming meetings. Hey, we need your nomination by this time. You know, we're looking at state tournament officials coming up next week. These are just quick notes, and then they're also documented here for long time sake, so that you can go back in and see what's been done in the past. Resources, another one of my favorites. This is huge. Get into the resources tab. Resources tab has a ton of information. Okay, everything TWA at the top. You know, the disclosure on the background checks, the latest version of the bylaws, which the executive board is moving on now. If you haven't seen the proposed changes of the bylaws, you know, please click on those. This is where the executive board has went in and made suggested edits to the bylaws that are being kicked around in those executive board meetings there. Go get familiar with your bylaws. They do affect you from a state level. Even though you may get a chapter association and have your own chapter bylaws, the state bylaws are there as well. So please get familiar with those and see what your executive board is doing. You see every edit in there, from a proposal that Dan made to something that Adam and Austin has updated, that somebody that Renee or Willie in El Paso have made a suggestion on. You can see the work that's being done on those proposed changes there. Insurance coverage, it'll break that down. Gabe will cover that in a video later. The evaluation form that many of us print out on there for your tournaments and duels. Evaluation criteria that goes along with that evaluation form. There's a weighting guide for head officials, things like that. That's all on the TWA side. UIL, you're familiar with that. Just some interesting information. The wrestling pages, the fee schedule. Everybody should be familiar with the fee schedule. The 12, it's called the 1204, right? The fee schedule. It's what we get paid for a tournament, what we get paid for a duel. The difference is in it. We don't pay girls different than we do boys like we have in the past. Those types of things. Fee schedule's there. Mileage calculator, the wrestling manual. If you're interested, the district breakouts, kind of interesting to some. Hey, where's that team gone? I haven't seen them anymore. Shows you that, right? And then NFHS, the things that Dan covers, right? This is the rules interpretation from last year. That'll be changing. Dan's going to send that to us and we'll get that updated. Any changes for the past several years? The digital books, if you want digital books, here's a link to there. So you can see there's a ton of resources on this webpage at your disposal on that. And then more. Terry, click on more. Couple interesting things here, and then we'll be done. That's your account. You don't need to do that. Members. Let's click on members. Man, I refereed a tournament last week with this guy named Billy, and I don't even remember what chapter he was in. Terry, go to first name. You go here, first name. Type in Billy. Type the magnifying glass. No, don't lie. Oh, where you from, Terry?
I am from
Magnifying glass. Okay, Billy, some guy named, oh, it's Billy McDonald out of Dallas. That makes sense now. I know the guy, right? You got his email, you got his phone number. This is for everybody here. Terry, let's search by chapter. Have the down arrow, search by chapter. Man, there was this official I knew, I didn't know, but he was from Austin, right? Click chapter. Type in Austin. Hey. Click the magnifying glass. Terry, there we go. Okay, great. Well, at this time now, I've got 27 people in Austin that have registered. Oh, it's Sam Arnett. I know Sam Arnett. I just couldn't remember his first name, right? You can see everybody in Austin through this. These are people who are registered, right? It only shows registered officials that use that members search feature for there to see how many we have registered. Mike.
While you have everybody listening, can you ask them to make an attempt to update their photo? Because when I first started,
Terry.
You don't know any.
Sure. Terry, can you go into more and then account?
Down, scroll down.
Oh, can you scroll down a bit?
You can do it down here.
I'm ready to face it, dude.
It's way better than real.
Where at, Clayton? See anything there?
I think
All right,
you have to go
let's
into
try
your
Highway.
membership, into your account.
Yeah.
Yeah, go to more account. I'll put that and show Terry's secret password.
Profile image.
Profile image. So go to more and account and profile image on the left. This is where you upload your fish. Please make it suitable for work. If by all means, but this is for Michael. This is so Michael knows who you are, because he never forgets a face, but he forgets a name.
If they were there last year, we'll be back.
Should, yes, yeah, you can't stay. Yep, you can't stay. Stuart, if you like me, you want to check the picture. Okay, every time I can. All right, any questions on the website? There'll be more to come on that. Get in there, click around. You're not going to break it, Mike.
On that same question though, your account remains, but you don't have access to actually register, is that correct?
Correct. Yes,
You have
your
to
account will
register.
still be there. It's still under the same email password. Right. yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, any questions on the website? Yes.
Question, but I did have a comment, if this is the right place to put it. So when we were talking about evaluations, and we have an opportunity for coaches to get evaluations, which we have. From a coach's perspective, I knew two groups of fish. I knew those guys that I thought were great. I knew those guys' names that I thought were awesome. But as far as evaluations go, for the 70% in the middle, I never would have submitted an evaluation. No, there's. Okay, what if as soon as we register for signing that number, that's our number for every man, put it on our shirt?
Great idea. So the question is, the room is, can we, once we register, be assigned a number, an official's number that we can put on our shirt? It's been brought up before, and it's a great idea. We've done it at the state tournament. But what happens is now we've got a number, say, pin it on, you emboss it, sew it in, iron it on, but now you've got one shirt. Got one shirt, and what you're doing, many of us use 2 or 3 shirts. Now some of us change shirts in the middle of the tournament. You know, on that too. Where does that number go? We've all got to get the same numbers. Does the state pay for number? Send it to you. 4 safety pins on your sleeve. We're gonna do 4 safety pins on the back. Now we got okay. Does that paper? Is it embossed paper? What about laminated? And I'm not shooting down and saying this is a fair question. That assigning the numbers no problem. Assigning the numbers no problem. Now how to display it? That hey, number 11. I get number 11 every week. It sucks. His name is Dan. We don't really know, you know, what short guy, just a little older, you know, whatever. It's terrible, you know, getting away. That's, you know, we've got that, but we haven't got the practical side of how to get somebody more than one shirt that they can use that number.
I don't want
Yeah, that's
anything long, but
sure.
last year, Houston had all their shirts sublayered. That's something drop right.
Sure. Yeah. You're right. Well, it's fair. Yeah, I mean, it's not good. You know, we can use numbers from now on, and that we all register now, get our number, and now, you know, maybe it's on you or maybe it's on your chapter to help with that sublimation. So now you buy the shirt, you give it to your chapter, they pay for it, they pay everybody $8 extra to do that. Is that on your own? You know, to get your number. If you want to be evaluated, you got to have a number type of thing. Well, that may go into your pools of I know the good guys and I know the bad officials, but I don't know that in between. That in between is one that doesn't have numbers. You know, it could be there. It's discussion that we need to have, because if there's a solution for it and it's cost effective, let's go get it. I appreciate it. We have 2 evaluation opportunities. The coach evaluation that you saw on the front of the page before you logged in, and the officials evaluation, the ones that we do on ourselves once you get logged in under resources, right? You go into resources, that's the evaluation form that us officials use to evaluate our own. It gets highlighted mechanics and positioning and whistle work, installing, you know, and rules knowledge and things like that. That's a deep evaluation. So a couple of evaluations there. We want to make sure that we have tools to be able to use. Great questions. Terry, any more questions online?
Steve, it's a great idea. One of the things we probably do is
No.
we get, say, ink, you know, we can do something like that, so you get a celebration of either logo. There's, you know, at some point, if all the officials. A number of different state boards that they have to do it. You can just have, that's something they did. On your fish picture as well, so.
They get expensive though, they're every celebration is set up.
Yeah, so there's, you know, there's some ways around it.
Yeah. Start presentation. That's fine.
Should. Let's see. Yep.
Okay, if anybody can hear us, we've lost audio from the conference room.
Okay, can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
No, thank you.
We were talking, great. Insurance background checks, testing will come. We won't cover insurance now. Gabe will cover that at a later date. Background checks, it's just your standard background checks. They're looking for crimes with children, sexual crimes, you know, felony assault, those types of things, all from the UIL perspective on that. The background check gets done, it goes into a file. I'll be honest with you, nobody really looks at them because we get flagged if there's a problem. So nobody manually goes in and says, hey, it's a Tuesday, I'm gonna see who all's done a background check today. We don't do that. You get notified if there are officials who have something of concern that we want to take a look at. And then if we feel the need, then that's discussed with the UIL on what their level is. And nothing's, knock on wood, nothing like that has happened in the recent past. So we want to keep that going on there. But background checks get done. That's there. Testing. Dennis will cover testing later when he gets into his roll calls on what's there. The bylaw requirements on the testing. What we've done in the past is that there's 2 tests on the NFHS side. And both of our tests on the NFHS side are using the NFHS rules are the same pool of questions. We have around, as of last year, I think 117 questions in a pool. And we'll take 50, just a randomized poll of those 50 questions. Everybody gets a different test because it's computerized, electronic, and randomized on there. They'll get these questions. And part 1 is unlimited attempts. This was last year. I don't know what the executive board is going to do this year, but we'll figure it out. Last year, you could take part 1 as many times as you could, right? And we've got a grand champion in here that I know last time I looked took it 37 times, right, Coach? You mind me calling you out? Steve Davis, last time I looked, took part 1 37 times, right? But that 37 times, and it's a total compliment, 37 times was never the same test. I promise you, Coach Davis saw every question that was in the pool and saw it several times, but he was prepared. He was absolutely prepared. Part 1 is there to practice. That way, when you get to part 2, which is kind of I don't know a nice word to say for it, is a one-time take all if you're going into postseason. Anybody can take part 2, but you only get 1 attempt as of last year to take part 2, and that qualified you for regionals and state tournament. You had to get a 90 on part 2. Only 50 questions. You could only miss 5 and still qualify to be a regional or state tournament official last year. Again, this is last year. I don't know what's going to happen this year, right? So if you miss 6 questions, you did not get to go to regionals. You did not get to go to state on that. But part 2 was the same questions as part 1. They were out of the same bank. Coach Davis saw every question on part 2 before he even took it, right? That's it. That's it. But the point is, that was the whole point that the executive board wanted to set up part 1. We don't want to trick officials. We don't want to trick officials. We want to give officials the benefit of that and see the data. We want you to be exposed. Make your mind think. Really, what we want you to do on part 1, it's an open book test. We want you to get in the book. We want you to get in the book. Dennis is going to cover this. Steal his thunder. Part 1 is to get you in the book. Let me give you a hint. Every question on part 1 is a verbatim cut and paste out of the book, right? We've had some bad questions in the past. I'm guilty too. We would add questions in there. Last year we had this one out of bounds situation. So let's make up a question, and we had the best intentions of it, but it got away from the book wording, right? So everything's a may versus a shall and can't always, but sometimes, and so we got away from that. It's the test questions now, and it's up to Dennis, but the test questions now, I promise you, will be cut and paste out of the book on there. Get in your book, get familiar with the book, find out how it flows, and be familiar with it. So testing, forum was already.
Is a way to have this available for the coaches to take?
Yes, and so last year I put the test on the coaches' Facebook page. We had 6 coaches take it, or maybe less than that, because a couple of them were false names, and they didn't hear it. So I pasted. Many of you who were on the coaches' Facebook page saw that I put it out there. I actually put it out there and went in and saw, how do we know it was them? Because they weren't registered, right? This was a special link set up for them who weren't registered, so we could tell who it was. A couple of the questions, I think Chip took it once, maybe Joe took it as well out of South Lake. Or where's Joe now? South Lake. Okay, good. A couple of them, I remember them taking it. It's terrible. It's terrible. What would you expect?
Trace their IP address.
That's it. That's fair. That's fair. And I mean, one of them got a 46. Now I'm sure they were just clicking through, but it's as an official, right? Remember your first year, especially a couple of you who this is your first year officiating, right? We all know wrestling. We all wrestle. Hey, I'm pretty good. I think I know the rules. Whenever you go take the test that first, I mean, whoa, I don't know. I mean, maybe, I guess, is this a rule really? I didn't, so the whole point's to get in the book. So it's exciting. So yes, that's a big long answer, Clayton, to say, I'll do it again. But I love their participation. Yes, sir.
On the test, because I've been looking at the rules. So is the test gonna have stuff like towards the back end where it's talking about setting up a tournament?
No, we stay away from tournaments.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there's, I mean,
We stay away from bracketing.
Yeah.
Any tournament brackets we deal with.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion, that's not something we need to test on.
Right, no, that's what I was looking at, I was like.
And that's
okay,
right.
There's some stuff in here that.
No,
To me, doesn't seem like a.
you're good. Yeah, it's just efficient.
No, right, yeah.
No, other thing, in addition to that, administration stuff, how much weight can be lost in a week? And, things that are UIL related on there, we don't. But yeah, great question.
So, Rex, go back to background check for a second. So if you get a background check that kicks out, right, for whatever, it's flag. Are we sending that to the UIL for them to review on a 100% basis, or are we making that decision at TWA? The reason I'm asking it's for risk management, risk mitigation standpoint.
Sure. I'll be honest, ever since we set this one up, I haven't had.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't dealt with it yet, but it's something we need to talk about to see.
Yeah.
Give me some direction.
Yeah, well,
What do you suggest we say?
if we had one flag, right,
Yeah.
get kicked out, right, whatever it is, I would put that on the UIL.
Okay.
Right, because at the end of the day, the UIL is a state body.
Yeah.
And they're the ones who have to say yes or no. And if they accept it, now burden is off TWA.
True.
For making a decision.
I agree. And
I don't put that risk on the UIL.
Fair. And I love that. What's been kicked around a couple of times, this was just mentioned in the executive board, there's been no decisions on it at all. It's, hey, should we have TWA standards on a background check? That maybe supersede that. And and I say that to say it's not been resolved yet. It's just been thrown out there on that. Now, with that said, the last time I saw a background check get kicked in, and I believe it was like a felony bad check or something.
Oh, yeah.
The last one I saw, this is maybe 5 years ago. We were with Arbiter, and so we're with a different system. So I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't seen one yet from.
Yeah, I mean, if the UIL has the standards
Yeah.
that they share for, pick a sport, right, then the onus is on them, risk is tied to them.
Yeah.
Versus us, and that's how I would suggest it.
I agree.
That's just messy.
Nope, I agree. Appreciate you pointing that out. That's something we'll definitely bring in. Okay, we talked about the forum, we talked about resources. Good shape there. Terry, I'm not working.
Just checking. Is it quiet in the conference room?
It is good. Next.
Okay.
Sorry. Technical.
No, it's okay.
All right. So great. So let me turn it over to Dennis McGrain. Dennis will take us through the TWA rules interpreters. And please know, about a month ago, we went through and called for nominations from the executive board of the chapters. And Dennis was one of the ones that were nominated from the DFW chapter, and the executive board voted, and Dennis was selected in strong fashion. So congratulations, Dennis. Glad to have you part of this and take it through it.
So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Dennis McGrain. I've been with DFW chapter, I believe I'm on year 19, 18, 19, somewhere around there. I'm very humbled to be chosen for this. I think it's an important role. I've already reached out to your chapter interpreters to start a dialogue. We're going to have 3 to 4 official chapter rules interpreter calls, and then feel like we need to have more during the season to do that. I'm going to start with the 4th bullet point. I feel like as chapter rules interpreters, one of our biggest responsibilities is to make sure that all 7 chapters are calling rules consistent. One of the biggest gripes that I've gotten from coaches is that they go somewhere else. DFW school goes out of DFW. They come back to me and they're like, why keep me calling this rule this way all season? Why are they calling it differently out there? Sorry, I can't answer. Rules, it's simple, it's black and white. They should be called the same way. Judgment calls, obviously, we try to be as close to each other as possible, but we're going to be off on judgment calls. But rules calls, we should be calling those the same way. Starting positions, there's not a gray area in starting position. I know 4. I'll call myself out. 4, I've kind of given a little leeway and made it a little gray, and if their hands are kind of back on the color, and their knees are up a little on the color, I've let it go. Okay, the rule's clear, guys. We need to be consistent, and the coaches have come to us and said, if y'all are consistent, we don't mind you being strict, just be consistent. And to me, with the rules, the only way to be consistent is to call them strict. So if we start getting into, well, we'll let this go, it just gets bad. So one of the things that I'm really pushing with the chapter rules interpreters is to get buy-in all of our officials across the state that we're being strict on rules. Okay? We will have the rules calls, the video calls throughout the season. I thought Daniel did a great job with those and appreciated getting those running. You see the dates, October 26th, November 2nd, November 3rd is going to be for new officials only. We'll go over basic stuff. December 14th, January 4th, January 25th, and then we'll have one as we get into postseason. Those calls, I love them, but one of the things I'm going to ask is we're going to watch a video once or twice. We're going to have a minute or two, maybe 3 of discussion. We're going to move on. Okay? A lot of times what happens, we get into the weeds, you start talking about what if situations that may happen once every 10 years, and it just becomes real muddy. We don't want to get into the weeds on these calls. We want to go through, and what I'm going to tell you, after about 3 minutes, still have a question, get with your chapter rules interpreter, go over what the interpretation of that call should be. Okay? Rules interpreters should be on the same page on all. If you do have a rules question, if a coach comes to you and you don't know, your chapter rules interpreter is your main point of contact for any rules question. Okay? You shouldn't have to call me, and I'll ask please that you don't call Dan unless it's a crazy UIL situation. Okay? Rules calls, we've got the TWOA rules interpreters, you've got your chapter interpreter, and they should be able to help you on a week-to-week basis at an event. Call them, text them, hey, I've got this situation, what do I do? Okay. If we need to have follow-up after that, we will.
And one of those points that Dennis is talking about on that communication is it's not to cut anybody out of the picture. We want to make sure that communication chain stays within your chapter first, goes to your chapter rules interpreter and your chapter leadership. It stays in your chapter. That way, if we realize that your chapter leadership realizes we have an official that doesn't quite understand the starting position, we found that out because that official has notified their head official, who's notified the chapter rules interpreter. Oh, okay, we got this. He or she just doesn't understand the rule. They can work with them versus call them straight to Dan or call them straight to somebody else, that they'll get the answer that they need. And that's great. But the chapter misses that opportunity to see and correct that within their chapter to be able to, maybe we need to retrain on this. Maybe we need to go over our new officials again on these types of things. And so Dennis, as the state rules interpreter on the TWA side, Dennis gets to collaborate all those around. And so what we expect Dennis to do is that if Dennis is seeing, hey, out of El Paso, we got incorrect starting procedures. Out of the Valley and out of Houston, we've got several calls on incorrect starting procedures. We've got a statewide issue. Dennis is going to put that at the top of his list for the next call because of the feedback that he's got through those chapter rules interpreters. So keep it in your chapter first. Correct it if you can. Maybe it's a chapter issue or an official issue. If it's bigger than that, Dennis will collaborate that for the state level and retrain if we need.
Right. The way it'll work, chapter rules interpreters, they'll send an email or a text, group text, all the chapter rules interpreters, myself, Dan, and Rex, all as a group, so that we all know what's going on. And it's not about keeping rules interpretations in one spot. And I think that's been our problem is chapter will start calling something one way and say, well, this is the way we call it, and nobody else knows about it. And that's when we get into trouble. Okay.
Can you touch on the November 3rd meeting?
Yeah, the November 3rd meeting, again, it's for new officials only, or say you're a 2-year official, you just need a refresher. It's really important to get on there just to go over basic stuff about how you work with your other officials, how you deal with coaches, all that stuff. So if you're a new official, we really need to be on you. It's Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. And all these will be at 7:30.
And it'll start with what to wear. Here's your shirt. Here's your black pants. Here's your black shoes. The red wristband goes on the left, not the right, because that makes sense. right? Starting from there to help you as the local chapters, Dennis will be talking to all the new officials. If you're an experienced official, not invited. And the whole point is not to create an intimidation factor for these new officials coming on with all these names that they recognize or have officiated them before and things like that. We want to try to create an environment for Dennis to be able to talk to the brand new officials one-on-one in an environment that they're not afraid to ask a question on that from, you're expected to be contacted by a head official. You won't be the head official. You'll be contacted by a head official. They will tell you what time to be there. Be 15 minutes early. Those types of things. Expect to stay this. Here's your pay schedule. The head official will take care of that. Dennis will walk you through step by step. We've done this for a couple of years now. Dennis will walk through step by step, guiding those brand new officials to try to make them comfortable for you back in the chapter to communicate with them. Great. And likewise on the postseason, just the opposite of that. Postseason, we're going to deal with regional tournament officials or district tournament officials. And if you don't mind me jumping on your bandwagon a little bit, on a question we had from the coaches last night was, hey, why did we get to regionals at state and all of a sudden misconducts are called by the book? Fair, it's a fair question because like Dennis was saying, we may start out a little soft at the beginning of the year throughout that, or different chapters may call it more strict in other ways. But especially when we get to state, and my answer was, especially when we get to state, we've got evaluators. Those evaluators are from out of state. They don't know any of our officials. They know the rule book. They know why they're hired. They're hired to evaluate and rank our officials there. And so they're calling it by the book. So what does the book say? If you come to the table and a call is not changed, a misconduct is issued, right? So that's what we expect. And we go over that. If those state tournament officials in here, you can validate. We have usually 2 calls before the state tournament. It is just us 30. And it's tough. It's like, hey, we watched some videos. This is a misconduct. Don't let that coach walk away with a misconduct. There is a delay of match on that. So they're asking for, well, why didn't that call the beginning of the season? Like, it can be, right? And and the real reason is it should be, right? No, what I'm saying is, yeah, it actually should be, right? It's what happens is, and then I tell them, we got officials who they want to be nice, they want to, whatever. They had food with you in the hospitality room, whatever. They don't want to hit you with a warning or whatever it is. But that's our goal. That's what we've been trying to do is get standardized on misconduct on starting positions. Dennis mentioned on starting positions the same time. Well, that's the first tournament. It's JV. I mean, hell, hey, put your hands in front, whatever. Those types of things. It's tough. It's tough. But if we can nip it in the bud the first couple of tournaments and start calling it the way the first couple of tournaments, then people at regionals and state won't be surprised, right? Dan and I give the talk every year before the state tournament on that is, hey, if you come to the table, one of 2 things will happen. We give it there. We set it up on that, but it's still something we should be doing throughout the year. So that is something that's even covered postseason as well, but we'll hit it early. Thanks, Bill.
Learned behavior. Start at the beginning of the season, those wrestlers and coaches by the end of the season, they're used to it. Starting position shouldn't be an issue at the state tournament. Coaches know when they should go to the table. I mean, there are coaches that go to the table to earn a misconduct, and they know they're getting it, and they're still going to come to the table. And that's fine. We need to be confident enough to make that call. Rule books, case books, those are your tools. Okay? Make sure you are going through them. Talked about test 1. It's open book. There's a reason it's open book because we want you to be well versed in those rules so that you're in the middle of the match, action's flying around. You don't have to think about, oh, is that legal? Is it illegal? What's going on here? Go through them. Okay? Case book has great situations. Go through on, oh, this came up and it's in the case book. I read about it. Oh, it's illegal. Okay, great.
Hey,
Use
Dennis,
those.
is there an online version we can get?
There is an app. NFHS has an app. I've got it on my phone. It's a great app because you're able to search by keywords. It's got everything. So I would tell you to go ahead. You're savvy with the situation. Go ahead and do that. Makes it a lot easier. All the chapter representatives got the paper books today, and those will be handed out by your chapter leadership at your next meeting, I would assume. But make sure you use those. The other thing is, and I'll say this, and I've told my DFW guys and gals before, when you go to the table, coach questions you, and you say, no, coach, wrong, this is the rule, and they ask, well, show me the rule book. That's not how it goes. Okay? We don't pull out a rule book at the table. Coach, that's the rule. And that's what we're going with. Okay? Questions answered, walk back to the center of the mat. Okay? Don't pull out rule books at the table. If they want to discuss it later, I've told coaches this. Well, they're like, well, what if I want to question this and maybe it's judgment? Okay, fine. Okay. Go find that official during the break, back in the hospitality room, and sit down and have a civil conversation about, hey, why did you call this the way you called it? Have that conversation as an official. Be civil as an official, have a intelligent conversation with that coach about why you call what you call. Okay? Especially on judgment calls, it's going to allow that coach to kind of know how you make your calls. So have that conversation, just not at the table. Last thing, and this was a big deal with Rex last year, get the call right. Okay? We all blow calls. It's going to happen. Nobody's perfect. Okay? If you can fix it, fix it. Okay? Leave your ego at the door and make sure you get the call right. Okay? Sometimes you blow a call and you aren't able to fix it. That's fine. Learn from it and don't make that same call the next time. But if you're able to fix it in the match, fix it. Coach comes to the table, you figure out, you know what, coach, right? Fix it. That was all I had.
Yeah,
As we
so
get through the season,
that's great.
again, we will have the rules calls and go over stuff. The chapter rules interpreters and I will have meetings. I'm hoping after those meetings, they will disseminate all that information to you. If you have an issue with your chapter rules interpreter, and you ask for interpretation for whatever reason, they haven't gotten back to you, go ahead, email me. I would say copy your rules interpreter if you're gonna do that. Don't go behind your rule interpreter to me without them knowing about it.
That'll be the first question Dennis asks is have you contacted your rules interpreter? So don't let him shoot you out of the water with that. That's something, again, we want to make sure that chain of command there is followed on that. We've got a little bit of extra time, so I want to stay on this, Dennis, if you don't mind. Get the call right, something we started really pushing last year. I know it sounds trivial, but the whole point behind that is let's talk about some situations now on the wrestling side and everybody online too. Let's think about some situations that we can't correct, because we think about the very few situations that we can't correct. It's going to show you all the things that we can correct. And this isn't NCAA. We're not worried about riding time, right? We're not worried about giving control quick enough so we can start a clock on that. Things can be delayed just a little bit to ensure that control isn't called too quickly, that we have to wave it off. Everybody, if you've officiated before, everybody knows that feeling of takedown happening, 3 green takedown, and they roll out and the green ends up on bottom as they roll through it, right? Now you've got a decision to make. Are you going to take a point away from green and give red a reverse? And now you're taking points away from red now because red's now down by 1 instead of being up by 3, right? So you changed the whole tide of the match because you called the takedown a little bit quick on that. So let's talk about some situations there and talk about how to correct them as we go through in that situation and what you would do. Because some of them get kind of hairy, and let's talk about a couple of things that eventually get to score. The scoreboard says one thing, right? The coach has something else, and you as the official have one of the two, and what are you going to do? So we're going to get to there. The whole point is get the call right. We can reconstruct it with the tools that we have there. Other than watching video, we can reconstruct what happens in that match. So I'll start with one and then give Dennis one. You have a situation. We're in neutral. Okay, takedown. The takedown's given, and it's a good takedown. Okay. Okay. So green gets a takedown. Green puts a half on. Green is now running a half, and as they're rolling over, right? They're rolling over, and as that wrestler now is on their back, they're underneath 90 degrees, but not yet the 45. We're not in a near fall count situation yet. As they're rolling into that count, injury time is called by the bottom wrestler. Green's on top, running red. Red goes over to about an 80 degree, no near fall count yet. And as they are starting to go to 45 degrees, red on the bottom calls for injury time. What do you do? Okay, that's a start. Anybody want to take a stab?
2 near fall. Stop the match.
Okay, stop the match first, right? Everybody agree to stop the match. Why are we stopping the match now instead of letting it continue to see if they're really hurt or not? Why do we stop?
You don't know.
Injury. So
Michael first.
Injury.
So the table workers know that Stop the match, stop the clock.
Okay? Fair, fair. Okay, good. So the table's gonna stop the clock, right? That's the right call to stop the match, but I want to get to why we stopped the match, okay? Bottom wrestler called for injury time. What do we need to assess? Are they really hurt or are they trying to
No.
get that near fall?
You can't.
No, it's immediate.
Why can you not do it that way? You're right, but why?
Because you may be.
Because,
And
well,
then you
right.
gotta err on.
Sure. What does the rule say?
Call it
Err on
immediately.
cost.
The rule said, Dan was saying, Dan, what'd you have? The rule says stop the match anytime three people. If three people can call for injury time. Who are they in a match? Coach, wrestler, and the official. Okay, three people can stop that for injury if they feel like there's injury there. So the wrestler has called injury time. Did that roll, Randy? Did that roll all the way down? Yeah. Three people. So that wrestler has called for injury time. It's not up to us. This is a big coach complaint, right? It's not up to us to determine whether they are hurt or not. They have called for injury. By the rule, it says three people can call for injury. That bottom wrestler is one of them. We can't assess that. We'll give you the liability reasons for that. The liability reasons are that kid has something broke in their back or whatever. He or she pops up and they seem to be okay, right? And if we let that action continue on and they've broken their back, we've accepted all that because we didn't think they were hurt. They called for injury time. We didn't give it. Don't do that, right? So in that situation, getting the call right, bottom wrestler called for injury time. We have to stop it by rule. We have to. Okay, question.
Now, we had not awarded 2 points because they hadn't got to the near fall point
Okay.
yet. But as a rule, once we start counting, and then the kid on the bottom calls for injury.
Okay.
If we've done a 2 count, we stop it, but we award 3. Is that correct?
Okay, so that's correct, but let's not get there yet. Let me
Okay,
back,
all
let's
right,
back, because I want to get to where you're going. This is great. I love this discussion. So let's back up a step, okay? So we've stopped the clock, like Michael said, according to rule. The rule says we have to stop it because the bottom wrestler called for injury. We don't determine injury or not. We stop it, okay? Now what? We've stopped the clock. We're getting up off the mat. Top wrestler gets up. Bottom wrestler's probably hurt. We hope, not hurt. I'm sorry. We don't hope he's hurt. We hope he's on the mat, probably hurt. We hope that the coach is coming out and the trainer's coming out to assess it in. Now what do? We've got a couple things. We've got a couple administrative things we got to cover. Jesse. Signal for what? Injury time. Do we do it now or do we wait until the trainer gets there?
Yeah, you do it that.
We do it right now. High school rule is, and the reason I say that is the NCAA rule is different. Okay. The high school rule is once injury time is called, once we gather ourselves and whatever and take, then we step out and start injury time immediately. Okay. Coach trainer comes. We still have administrative stuff to do. What is it? Let me remind you of the situation. Green's on top. Green's running a half. They're at 80 degrees and he's running over. He's running over. As they're at 80 degrees going to near fall, we stop the match for injury. Award 2. Okay, so now we're in the debate. Love it, right? One thing is we don't have a 2 count yet. That's correct, right? 1 count. We don't even have a 1 count. You're right. Hold on, but that's why we're in this, right? That's why because I want to talk about this. And this has been Dennis's wheelhouse. But I'm going to turn it over. Okay, so we're not in a count yet. We haven't counted yet. Dennis.
We've got imminent scoring on near fall. We've got imminent scoring on takedowns. Really on any scoring, imminent on reversal. Okay. If they're past that 90 and they're going, and you feel like not stopped it for injury, they would have gotten a near fall. That's imminent near fall. Give the 2. If you don't have a count yet, you don't have your 2 count, then you've only got 2. And that's it. Same thing with a takedown. They're getting taken down. Defense wrestler calls for injury time as they're going down. If you feel like they would have achieved the takedown, had you not, yep, 3 for imminent scoring. Okay.
So the table looks like this. Imminent to 2.99 equals 2, right? 3 to 3.99 equals 3. Sorry, the mark is bad. See what we're saying though? It's not necessarily 1 point. It's not 1 point. It's the next level of near fall, right?
Yeah, but 3 to 3.99 would be 4, not 3.
Yeah, right.
It's white plus
Right.
Okay. Right?
1.99 less is 2.
Okay, so imminent near fall, you don't have to have a 2 count. If they are going to near fall, if you believe that that injury time would have prevented, that injury time prevented near fall, right? A near fall situation, that's imminent near fall. Just like Dennis was saying, also the same way with a takedown. If that injury time if that takedown is imminent and the injury prevents that takedown because you had to stop it before they hit the mat, but they were going and there was control to be established in your judgment, right? You're given that. So again, make sure you know what imminent near fall is. And that imminent near fall is that you don't have to have a count yet. You have to be going to near fall, right? The whole point is to get the call right. The whole, we stop the match. We can correct anything there. We haven't even made a mistake to this point. There's no mistake there. Right, there's a whole lot of administration that happens in there from that takedown all the way to an injury with an imminent near fall. Okay, talk about other situations.
First of all,
go ahead. Sorry, question.
We're all clear on the same page. Are we gonna say then imminent near fall is gonna be, because they could have a half and you know that they're probably gonna crank it into near fall and it still calls an injury time while not in 90 or not in 45, right? We're gonna say 90 is the starting point, so we're all consistent in calling it.
90 is the starting point.
It's the starting point, right?
Yeah,
but just because they're at 60 though doesn't mean it's imminent. They can be at 60 coming out.
It could stall
Right.
out there.
It could stall out there, right? So it's hard to just say 90 and below is now imminent. We want to make sure that we stay away from that, right? And sorry, I'm really getting in Dennis's wheelhouse. I need to step out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Now, to
I'm ready.
back off that injury time, where should you be?
In a position to see the clock and both the rest.
Where should you be standing? Injury time, recovery time, blood time, where should you be standing?
Or the rest.
No. All those, you should be standing at the table, monitoring the time, calling a timeout at 30-second intervals. Okay?
But you're back against the table, correct?
Correct. Watching.
Yes.
Right. Okay, the other wrestler can go to their corner, talk to their coach, get water, whatever. You should always be at the table. It's one of my biggest pet peeves when I watch other officials and when I'm evaluating, call injury time and they're standing right on top of the injured wrestler, watching the trainer work. No, you're at the table, monitoring the time, watching the action, and calling out that injury time at 30 seconds. One of the things that came up in the state tournament with me, we're head official with a taped headgear.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. First match, right? The start of the state tournament, girl walks up to the mat. She's got tape all over the straps of her head. Technical violation, start injury time. Coach is going nuts. People wrestling all year like this. She didn't get it all off in a minute and a half, and she lost that match. They came back, talked to UIL and Rex, and said, well, he didn't call out 30 seconds, so it shouldn't count. Luckily, Rex backed me up, UIL backed me up. Sucks. It's a lousy call to have to make, but that's where you stand. Stand at the table, monitor what's going on, give those 30-second calls just so the coach and the trainer knows, hey, we've got to make a decision here. As maybe 10 seconds, then you can start walking out and say, coach, we got to go. What are you doing?
We count, man.
No. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So
30-second interval.
start, it's a minute, you got 1 minute, 30 seconds. Right.
Yeah.
And recovery time, 2 minutes. When at the end of recovery time, the wrestler can't go, what? Who wins? The injured wrestler. Can they say they don't want to continue but don't want to win?
Yes. Wrestler can
Can they do it after the 2 minutes?
No.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Dennis, can you come over by the computer? You're cutting out.
But normally, if they're not going to continue, they should let you know before that 2 minutes is up. They know. So, okay, next one. We've expanded the out of bounds every, the last few years. Expanded. Now we're 1 point of contact inside or on the line. We're still wrestling. Okay. One of the things that I've said to my DFW officials is as scoring going out of bounds, delay that whistle half second or so. Because what's gonna happen is, feel like they're gonna go out of bounds, you blow the whistle and all of a sudden they turn back in and you just lost somebody the opportunity to score. The reason we've expanded the out of bounds is to promote scoring. So allow them all of that space and, like I said, half second or a second, delay that whistle, as long as it's safe, to blow them out of bounds, okay?
Yes,
Sir,
said different. Let them get all the way out of bounds first.
Yeah.
Right?
yes,
Once they're all the way in, they can call, right? Nobody can make that.
Right.
Worry about back in. Oh,
right. The thing is, you can always wipe away a score that you got wrong because they were out of bounds, okay? You can't give a score once you've blown the whistle.
If your whistle's too long, you can always, to say that, in addition to what he said, if you're slow on the whistle, you can always give something that you had that's there, right? But if you blow the whistle, you can't anticipate what would have happened after that whistle. That whistle kills everything there. So we don't want to blow a whistle too quick on that and kill that action. Good points. Questions online? Anything we had online? Jerry, you see me?
Yeah. Troy had a question. Troy?
Well, actually, it was a comment, and Dennis, when we're going through scenarios like that, if you happen to know the rule number, call it out. I looked it up. It's 829 on eminent scoring.
You should know that.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not being a jerk. It's like, I know what he's talking
I'm
about,
seasoned,
but
Troy.
where
I'm
is it?
One demerit on this one.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Anyway, thank
Stuart.
you.
Expanding on your 3 people can call injury time. The last few years, we've had the wrestlers invariably bang their heads together, and you see a wrestler that is in your judgment, and sometimes you have to make it very quickly kind of out of it, dazed for a second. Sometimes they come back and they're perfectly fine, but it's just that flash. Do we have the authority to stop it at that point? We see them bang their heads. We see a wrestler that's kind of loopy, blow the whistle and stop it and have the coach check them. Or do we have to let it go until the coach stops? I've had it told me both ways the last couple of years.
It's a safety issue. You feel that wrestler is not ready to wrestle? Absolutely. And I honestly, the trainer's there, that's going to ask to check the.
Well,
I'm saying. Dan.
yeah, no, I mean, hey guys. Safety is paramount, right? That's the biggest thing we're gonna be doing. And so in Stuart's example, you get a couple wrestlers banging heads, and one's kind of a little bit out of it. You can stop the match, do your own assessment, right? Just kind of see how they are. And if you're still concerned, then you take them over to the coach, the trainer, and explain what you see, start injury time. Ultimately anything that it's head, neck, HNC related, really the trainer needs to assess that. And if you start on injury time and the trainer's like, hey, this is HNC, great, stop that, wipe it, go here for 5 minutes. So, safety is the biggest thing. These are high school athletes. Some may go on to wrestle college or compete in college. Some, may never again. It doesn't make a point. Safety is key. And if somebody, and this goes for everybody, if somebody says, no, you don't have the right to do that, have them call Dennis first. And then Dennis can share that information. Happy. Because the UIL will back that.
And Stuart, if that's being told to you by an official, I would suggest, if you've got a relationship with that official, clarifying that, making sure, hey, did I hear that right? It's not the way I understand it. And if that's the way it's, well, okay. Oh, coach. Wow.
That explains.
Sorry, Coach Dave. Right.
Situation said safety call, coach.
Yeah.
But I'm
That's
just saying that had coaches on both sides tell me that, that I influenced the match by stopping their wrestler was the other wrestler.
Love.
One thing I would say on the HNC time, some of the trainers don't know about it and the coaches don't explain it to them. So when I get there and I find a trainer, that's the first thing I talk to them about is, hey, if we have a situation where you got a head, neck, concussion type injury, you need to ask me for that HNC time. Officially, that's what the book says, is the trainer has to ask for that HNC time. So make sure they're aware so they can ask.
That's the adult training, not
Legit
trainers.
Not
Yeah,
student, not
training.
trainer.
Adult trainer.
The trainer, sorry.
That's right.
We do not use to see.
So again, another opportunity for Dennis on one of his rule calls to cover H&C time. It's something that's been implemented the last couple of years, and we do need to make sure that we assist everything within the rules that we can to ensure that that's used. Great point.
Hey,
Any other
hey,
questions?
Rick, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. So on HNC and starting the clock, I had a situation last year where I knew there was an on-site medical professional. We didn't know where they were, and the circumstance was I know it's not my call for HNC, but that's what was going on based on the action that occurred on the mat. When do you start injury time when you don't? I'm sorry, HNC time when you can't find the medical professional.
Because they have to ask for it.
Well, okay, so hear me out on this one. Clearly, we had injury time. Injury time was running, and then the medical professional walks up. Help me understand how to manage injury or H&C time when you know you've got a delay. You just answered me. You don't have an H&C start until the medical professional calls it.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
And again, good question, Troy. Dennis will break this down. We'll have some good what ifs on there because we want to make sure again that we support on that. But the important point is like Stuart said and Dan backed up is that we stop it for safety and get that assessment. We can stop it and not give any time, right? That oftentimes when I have two head bunkers like that, stop it, find out what's going on. Coach, hey, come check the wrestler, come check the wrestler. Then and only then, when everything settles down, I'm in no big hurry to try to put a clock on somebody. We want to get everybody taken care of and assessed and get the assessment started first, get their attention first, and then determine whatever time you have on that. Great. Dennis, did you have another? Okay. Any other questions online?
I have a request.
All right, go ahead.
Dennis keeps cutting out because I think he's standing away from the computer. So if he's going to have the floor, come over by the computer, please. I don't know if it's possible.
You scared him. You scared him away.
Two demerits on Dennis. Yes. Starts from Dennis. Starting out in the hole. Sorry. So we had it's 20 minutes till we had an insurance presentation, and also we expected at the time the UIL possibly to come in this afternoon. They came in this morning, and Gabe wasn't here for that, so we're a little ahead of schedule. Is there anything that we can hit real quick before we release everybody? Remember, rules calls are coming up. We'll have more communications coming up. Dan is going to provide the NFHS rules interpretations along with a very, very good cutback video. We'll love the cutback video. It explains what a cutback is, what illegal is, and what the criteria are for. And when you're slowing a competition cutback down to frame by frame slow motion, and you still have debate in the room, that tells you how dicey that call is on those situations. But then there's also some nice pictures of knee surgeries and constructive braces and things like that to show you what the outcome of that is. If it's hard to stop a cutback, but what we can do is properly call a cutback and notice it when we see it. So it's some great education, and we'll put that on our resources page and our rules page for you to view as well. Any comments, questions that we have in the room? Yes, sir.
Real quick, I think you touched base on it for you. So you have collision and your medical professionals at a different mat. We're not starting that time really until they can assess things, right?
Yeah, I don't want to step on
You don't want to do a minute and a half.
Well, yeah.
You're gonna wait.
No.
Hey, let's let Dennis. Yeah, let's let Dennis.
That's not conversation today, but your thinking is not.
No, I was asking.
No, that's right. What I'm saying is it's a bigger conversation. What I'd rather Dennis do is put it into a hypothetical. You have this, you have this, and then maybe put it into a poll. Let's see where everybody votes on it. Have 3 or 4 choices on there, and we'll come up with what that is. We want to do the best thing we can, but at the same time, we still do have to adjudicate the match accordingly on that. And so,
All in the conversation.
sure.
So here's what I would suggest. When you get your rule books and your case books, things like HNC, injury time, imminent near fall, things like that, topics that were brought up today. Spend time in the case book, right? Because case book is going to provide you really good examples, and it's much easier to understand, think through, and it provides better clarity on these situations than just saying, oh, here's what it says, right? Because now you're having to apply it, it's being applied for you in the case book, right? So if you spend time in the case book, and I recommend this every year, and I still do it after 2 years ago. I spend more time in the case book than I do, right? Because it gets my mind going right. And so if you're newer, some of these things don't make sense. Your case book is really your best resource that you have at your immediate disposal. But yeah, yes, so.
The case book will give you the real life situation as it occurs. The rule book references or is reference to that case book and gives you the rule backup for what was just given to you inside the case book. So use them synonymously, but yeah, the case book is the one to read in the toilet or wherever your reading space is at your time on that. Yeah, easy to read. Great. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Is there a place to get videos online, YouTube, anything like that breaks down some rules and
sure,
more visual?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we've got several, even on our website, TWA-TX.org, on the forum. On the forum, there's rules discussions, and you make the call videos that are out there.
On those.
Right. And I'm sure Dennis will do the same thing. Daniel, the last couple of years, every time Daniel would have a rules call, he would put all the videos out there that we discussed on the rules call to be able to take a look at. And then there's, of course, YouTube and Facebook pages and whatever.
Yeah.
In addition to that.
There's a ton of really good media. Now, here's the only thing I would share with you about anything social media driven is unless you know the person or the persons that are directly commenting on it, you have to take what they say with a grain of salt.
True. Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of this stuff far. I enjoy it. There's really good content, but I would tell you the vast majority of the responses are probably not the best.
Okay.
And I wouldn't put it this way. I wouldn't take what they're saying on social media as the gospel on how to interpret a rule or situation combination. Go to a trusted source.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Jesse.
That's my question.
Okay, great. Any other questions online?
Yeah, there's 2. The season kickoff. Oh, sorry. The season kickoff meeting. It says it's not set yet. Is that still true?
It is, and basically that was just to get registration. Once we're to a comfortable spot of registration, it was really a follow up to this meeting, right? It was a follow up to welcome everybody to the season.
Okay.
Get some kickoffs there. It's really a placeholder. It's something that's still kind of in the works. Obviously, there's no date on that yet, but when it does get set, we'll communicate it out and put it in a blog post and make sure that everybody gets a blast on when that is and welcome everybody in.
Right. And the other question was, is there a PDF or digital version of the rule book available? Somebody posted into the chat the URL where you can actually get a digital copy of the rule book.
Yeah, so there's, it's on our resources page. If you go on our resources page and NFHS, there is one site for that as well. More than everybody, if you request it, we'll get a paper book. If you request it, the digital books, we're waiting on a price from the UIL on behalf of the NFHS to see if we can get a cut price on those. If not, you can go to NFHS today and get it on the website.
$20 for
On your, how much?
$20 for the case book and rule book.
Okay, $20 for the digital casebook and rule book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for
Okay.
both of them together.
Dan, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Good.
bought it already.
I just bought it right now.
Oh, thanks, man. Oh, well, I wasn't sure if we had a login or something that gave us a cut.
Oh.
Great.
Ready to
Fair.
start reading it.
Okay.
I love it. I love the digital. I hate the paper. Any other questions before we wrap up? Guys, welcome to the season. Before we cut out, set a goal. Every official, set a goal. What is your goal? I'm a brand new official. One of these days I want to call a varsity match. That's a big goal, right? You're not going to come out of the chute and call a varsity match. I hope you're not going to be there for a varsity match. But what are those varsity officials doing that I'm not? I want to get to that level. Watch them. Watch their move around the mat. Watch their mechanics. Watch their whistle work. Listen to their verbalization. Find their scores. See that they are calling points above their head, straight above their head, instead of lackadaisical with their elbow at their side, things like that. They're not verbalizing, things like that. Your good varsity officials will have their mechanics right. Okay, watch them, see what they do. Ask them if you can come to their events. Yeah, but I want to get paid. Well, maybe you won't get paid if you want to go and maybe be a second official with them. If there's a duel and you see a varsity official on there that you know their name, you know they're a good official, you're not doing anything that night, you're not assigned, call them, text them. Hey, I see that you're over at so-and-so high school tonight at 7:30. Would you mind a second official? I'd love to be an assistant, right? Go over there, get on the mat with them and see it from another level. Get on the mat and interact with them, ask questions, set a goal. What's your goal? I want to be a varsity official. I want to do postseason. I'd love to go to a district tournament. It's huge. Regional tournaments. I'd love to call a regional tournament. I want to get outside the chapter and call a regional tournament, right? State tournament. Holy cow. Within 5 years, I want to be a state tournament official. Set a goal. We've got the tools. We've got the mentorship. We've got the leadership to get you to where you want to be. We've got college officials. We've got repeat state tournament officials. We've got top 10 state tournament officials sitting in this room every single year, right? Use those tools that you have there. Use those resources that we have. You see, we've got the numbers. Our numbers are going up, and I'm very, very proud of them. You should be proud of them as an association, especially your chapter leadership should be proud of them. Let's go take advantage of it and keep this going and set this up for the next chapter and the next generation, because we've got a big, big opportunity for us as Texas continues to grow wrestling. AJ said today, the UIL said today that they are still looking at adding a 4A class. It's coming. It's coming. We got to be ready for it. Because the reason why they're adding is because they have too many schools in 5A. He said, we've got way too many schools in the 5A, right? So they're just waiting. They don't quite have enough for a 4A yet. Whenever they get to that mark, they're going to add 4A. We've got to make sure that we have the right number of officials to be able to support that as well. And we're doing that. So thanks for your time today. I look forward to talking with everybody online and seeing you around tournaments around the state. If you have any questions, please go through your chapter leadership. They'll reach out to us, contact us directly. Let's talk on the forum, get some discussions on the forum, the rules forums and the rules questions, and get that back and forth going, because I think it's great collaboration there. Thanks for spending time with us today. Look forward to talking with everybody soon. Have a great season.